I've known people who their father did kill their mother. Like they got to reconcile and figure out what that
Hmm.
means in their relationship, and it's not easy work. So this movie, yeah, it's fictional, but it's very much grounded in real life. That's a
Yeah,
real part.
definitely.
So so that's that, man. So yo, man, let's jump into the cake, man. We
Yeah.
got some. Let's cut these slices of cake here for everybody, man. I know you got a couple things. Why don't you jump into it?
Yeah, man. I love the cast. We've already talked about them, throughout this movie. Spike has the usual individuals that he works with all the time in here. Definitely love the cast. We mentioned, uh, or we alluded to it, that this is a basketball movie. So some of the scenes in this joint, man, when they're going back and forth in the practices, or even in the games, or even in the one-on-ones, like this is probably one of the best, if not the best, basketball movies of all time. Um, and then just Spike's ability to tell multiple stories within this one story. He's got the joint with
Mhm.
Lala, and I love Rosario Dawson in this movie.
Yeah,
She
buddy.
she gets
Yeah.
busy. Matter of fact, she reminds me of a
Mhm.
lot of Brooklyn females that I know throughout this movie.
Great. It's a great casting.
Yeah,
It's a great
definitely,
casting.
man.
Yeah, for her to be in
So
it. It
shout
is.
out to
Yeah.
Rosario Dawson. The fact that we talked about it briefly, but Dakota, Mila Djokovic's character in this also performs very admirably in this. She
Hmm.
comes from middle America, comes out to the big city, fast cars, bright lights, and she gets wrapped up by sweetness. And I
Yeah.
think the fact of, and we alluded to this too, Jim Brown's character, where he's like, "You better not throw up in my car. I'm gonna make you lick it all up." Like, yeah,
Yeah.
I believe Jim Brown saying that. Like, yeah,
So do I.
you wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah. So do
Um,
I.
and last but not least, I definitely want to just mention like the symbolism throughout this entire story. You know what I mean? Like when you see Ray, his character, it's always in the light. When you see Denzel's character, it's always in the darkness. But
Mm.
like Yul
Mm.
Brenner in the what is it, the oh man, it's an old Western movie. It was remade by Denzel, ironically enough. He's the man in all black, but good guys wear black, hence me being a Raider fan.
Mm.
So the fact is, like, you'll see these two individuals where they're using light as a metaphor to talk about, and yes, the Steelers are nothing but a knockoff of another black team. You have these individuals.
That was unnecessary and called for. That wasn't called for. It's not. This isn't the Sticky Floors Sports Podcast, but that wasn't
But
necessary.
the fact that
Just
they're
letting you know.
using these things as a metaphor is another great, awesome tool that I love in this movie. What about you, fam?
Yeah, man. Nah, these are it is that, and like shout outs to Dakota. You said Mila Djokovic
Yeah,
before the Resident Evil movies,
yeah,
which is how she really
yeah.
became popular. That's how everybody knows her from. But I was like, oh yeah, I remember her from He Got Game,
Uh-huh.
right, when she was in there. So yeah, get for it. We're getting her started. And also, did you peep how in that little scene when they're talking about the vultures, one of the guys is like a dude who plays Marlo
Yeah, yeah,
Stansfield
yeah, yeah,
in
yeah.
The
The
Wire. Like
wire.
I saw him, I was like, oh okay,
Yeah,
The Wire. That's
yeah.
cool. Yeah. All right. So my cake, a couple things, man. I talked about a little earlier, but I love the scene when Jake goes to the school to talk to Lala, and like he's like,
Yes.
and then the guy comes and he tries to flex on Denzel, and Denzel hits him in
Yeah,
the
bro.
throat, and then hits him with the
I can't hear
elbow,
you now.
and then he's staring there, and he just runs away. It's like a great scene.
Because
It's just great because it reminds you that that Jake is a dangerous person. Jake is a convict in the street. Like you don't really want to mess with this person. So I just like how they handle that scene, especially like his reaction afterward.
he remembered he
I
was still
like
a
how
prisoner too. That's why he
Right, he's
ran.
still right. This is a person that's still right. That's why exactly that made sense too. How about the scene where he just was opening and closing the door because he just wanted to see what that experience is like because he's been behind bars for 7 years. That makes sense. But the other thing is, I like how they handled the mom's passing.
Yeah,
It's that it happened, but you don't know how. And when they reveal it, it's like a slow burn through the
yeah.
movie that it makes a lot of sense when they show it at the end. You're like, oh, okay, I see how this happened. I just like the way they handled that. And then the last thing, and I'm going to touch on this again in a second, but I love the scene when he sees his daughter for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
When he sees Mary, just
Mm-hmm.
how she is, like her look on her face. I just thought that's like just a great heartfelt scene for me.
Yeah.
So that's
Very
my cake.
touching. Very touching.
It is.
So I'm going, obviously, man, I'm going with 5 boxes of popcorn, premium
Oh,
style.
you don't have any hate for this? None
Dude,
whatsoever?
you know why I'm not going with hate? Because it's 5 boxes. That's why I'm saying
Okay, that's right,
five
right, right, right,
boxes.
right, 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 right,
Yeah.
right, right,
Like
right,
I'd be
right, right, right. I
nitpicking.
got
And I know, folks, this is my second consecutive joint of 5 boxes. But I mean, like, literally, I love very demonstrative cast members who embody what the vision of the director is. And they look, an actor's job is to take whatever the writer does, good or bad, and make you believe it, make you
you.
feel it,
Mm-hmm.
make you
Mm-hmm.
want to be heavily invested. And the past two movies, the main characters have done that in
Mm-hmm.
Trump tight. And if this was poker, royal flush. If this was spades, we going diamond. Like it does
There
it,
it
man.
is. We going
Yeah,
wheels.
we going
We
on
got
this.
wheels. All right. Okay. All right. Well, I got a couple things. so like I mean like so I mean it's I the first one would be like really nitpicky, so I'm not even gonna mess with that one. But I do wish that the daughter was in the movie a little bit more. Um, I just felt like that relationship would have also allowed Jake to show some of his growth and some of his development.
Mm.
I thought it was like just I would have liked to have seen maybe like another they could have got another 5 or 10 minutes of of Mary in the movie. I would have liked to see that. I think that kind of slowed down a little bit. And the movie felt a little bit long to me. Like maybe it
Mm.
could have been a little bit shorter. You know, Spike, I got it. He wants to tell great stories and everything doesn't have to be 90 minutes, but this just felt a little bit long. All that is to say is like on the popcorn side, I would give this probably about three and a half, maybe like right on the cusp of four. Cause I do like the movie and I think it's got some great elements in it. It's definitely a rewatchable. And it's definitely one, I remember I saw this in the movie theater.
Yeah, same.
So it's definitely like a good movie worth watching, but yeah, that's where I got it.
Well, CJ, folks, CJ was talking about John Turturro's scene as the coach at Ball State, where he was saying he'd be
Oh yeah. Yeah.
nitpicking,
The coach.
but John does
Yeah.
that, and he's a
Yeah.
frequent collaborator with Spike Lee, just like
Yeah. Yes.
Roger Governor Smith and Thomas
Yep.
Jefferson, rest in power. These individuals, they do essentially kind of resemble characters throughout most of Spike's movies. So John
Hmm.
acting like the token white guy who's cool with black people, like like that's not far fetched for me. So that's why like it just plays into other Spike movies I've seen. Roger Governor
Yeah.
Smith being the suave snake oil salesman, he's done that before. You know what I mean? Like so, it's not
Hmm.
nothing far fetched. Thomas Jefferson Bird, being very very articulate and then violent in the next movie, like. That's not far fetched. You know what I mean? Like we talked about it
Hmm.
in Bamboozle, where he was philandering and pandering to the audience. Like that's not far fetched to me. I
Yep.
definitely want to shout out not just the individuals we mentioned, Travis Best, Walter McCarty, John Wallace, but also shout out to all the college coaches from Dean Smith, rest in power, to Luke Olson, rest in power, John Cheney and John Thompson, also rest in power. But man, they also taught Charles Barkley's in this joint, for those that don't remember, and rest in power, Bill
Hmm.
Walton's in this joint. You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
there's a lot of cameo appearances, and that's what I mean by with the cast, like from Shaq being in this, like all these dudes, man. Like these were like during the time that we were growing up, these were guys who were very influential, just like to this generation, LeBron, Luca, Kyrie, all the rest of these individuals who are in the finals right now. Um, you know, they you could see yourself as them. We grew up with them. Literally, I've known some of these dudes, played ball against some of these guys. So like it's not far fetched to be this invested for me in the movie. So it's another reason why, I'm giving it 5 boxes of popcorn and why I have no hate.
Got it. Got it. Cool. You got questions though,
Oh,
right?
most definitely. I got crazy
Got
questions for
questions.
you,
Okay.
man.
What's the questions? All right, hit me with
It's
them.
the
Hit me.
questions. The questions. Yeah, the questions. So my first one is does Jake ever get out of jail?
Yeah, I think he does. I think that Jake. I mean, he's gonna do his time. I imagine that he'll do a little bit less because I think I'm gonna project that Jesus is actually gonna be like a number one. Jesus is gonna have the career of Ray Allen,
Mm.
and when that happens, he's gonna be able to get his
Hall of
dad
Fame,
a little
two
bit of
at
a pardon.
two
Yeah,
finals.
get his dad out of jail a little earlier. So yeah,
Okay.
Jake's gonna get out of jail, and I want to imagine that. him and Jesus and Mary have a nice life together.
Oh, that's sweet of you, CJ. That's very sweet of you. It's not normally your style, but I give you props, man. I
You
definitely
know, gotta keep people on their
I
toes,
dig
man.
it. So does Walter Ray graduate from college, you're saying, or does he go to he's a one and done?
He's a one and done, man. He's
Mm.
going to he's one and done. He's gonna play 1 year and then he's going to NBA to have a great career,
So
man.
definitely not like his Connecticut joint where he went 3 years, but he's a one and done.
Oh, well, you know what? Actually, you know what? Now that you bring that up, I want to rephrase that. I do think he'll stay long enough to graduate. Maybe he can graduate in 3 years. Maybe he like figures something
All
out. But
right.
yeah, he'll do that. He'll do that for his mom
Oh,
because I know that
yeah,
the education part was important to
I
her.
dig it. So you've already answered three of my potential questions in 2 questions. So I'll go with could this movie be made now?
It could be. It would be interesting because now and you know, like with the NCAA NIL
Hmm.
rules, the because like part of the movie was also like this idea of like, would Jesus become like rich,
Hmm.
right? Well, now he can go to college and still make a lot of money at the same time.
Hmm.
So there wouldn't be like that go to the NBA directly, wouldn't be as much of a pressure. So I think like that dynamic would be a little bit different. Um,
And the agent
so yeah,
thing.
I think yeah, the agent thing like it would be those parts of the movie would be different, but I think structurally it could be done pretty much the same.
Okay. So what do you think happens to Dakota? Because we see
You know
her on
what,
that
man? I'm be
bus.
Yeah, yeah. I know. I feel like Spike wanted to give everybody a happy ending, right? So
Mm.
I'm gonna give Dakota a happy ending too. Dakota's gonna go. She's gonna go back to Iowa or wherever she's from, and you know, get a job at Walmart and just be like a regular person.
How is that a
Work her
happy
way up.
ending, man?
Wait, work her way. Wait, I didn't finish. Work her way up, become like a manager,
Okay.
and like really like right get herself together and marry a regular straight dude, and he'll never know that she was like a
She's in
hooker
the
in New
streets.
York for a part of her life. They'll never know that, and it'll be it.
It'll be our little secret.
Women, water's wet. Women have secrets. That's how it is. It'll be there. So that's how.
Oh, women have secrets. That's what we're entitled in this joint.
That's like what is it? Last Boy Scout. Water is
Right.
wet, sky's blue. Women have secrets.
Oh, that's classic right there.